Welcome back to Candid Charcha by Adventure Nation. I'm Renzi Thomas. Today we have another amazing superwoman with us, Ms. Neha Arora. She's the founder of Planet Abled, an inclusive tourism company. They got a tourism award this year, and she is also an advocate for adaptive adventure products for people with disabilities. Today's main topic of discussion is making travel accessible for people with disabilities. Let's welcome Neha here. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and coming for this show, Neha. And we consider it as our pleasure and thank you very much. Yeah.
My pleasure, NC. Thank you for inviting me. And thanks to Surbi for joining us to interpret the whole conversation for our deaf friends.
Yeah, and thank you again to Surbi and to Neha, both of you, for bringing in Surbi also because it will create more value to the whole chat session. And Neha, to start with, I would request you to start because that will be the right way to start. Please take us along with your journey of building up this venture of for the people with disabilities and inclusive tourism. So, what is inclusive tourism and your whole journey towards this? If you could bring in some light towards it, I think the viewers would love to know that first.
So the journey of Planet Able started through my personal experiences because as kids we could never travel because both my parents are persons with disabilities. So and when we grew up, we thought, okay, we started earning, so money will solve the problem. But it was not the case, and it was always like you travel 2,000 miles only to realize that the place is not accessible or doesn't give you the kind of experience that you would look forward to. Or people would pass comments that uh, if you face so much trouble, why do you even come? Because both my parents have different disabilities. My mother is a wheelchair user, and my dad is blind. And so there was a series of bad experiences because sometimes people were not accommodating to the needs or passing these comments. And there came a point where one argument turned into a mob fight, and that led my parents to decide never to travel again. And then I had that was the tipping point for me to look for a solution. And honestly, I could not find any. And then I started talking to other people, and either they were not traveling at all or they were facing some similar challenges. So that led me, okay, now no mainstream travel company would look into it, so can I do something about it? And so like I did my research for a good 3 years, and then launched Planetable as an inclusive travel company. By inclusive mean, we want to mix people with various disabilities and the non-disabled to travel together. So because for me, honestly, it was like choosing between my parents. Like you cannot have one travel company focusing on one single disability, which is like in most of the developed nations. But so here we are with world's first and one of its kind, where in the same group you can have a blind person, a deaf person, a person on a wheelchair, and a non-disabled person traveling together. So that is what inclusive tourism means.
Neha, but so what are the major difficulties when you? I know it has been a very long journey, and it's been a struggle because I personally also know you very well. So can you please put in a little more light on the kind of difficulties you have faced when you came up with this idea, and when you went out and started, talking to people about this amazing venture. So, what were the difficulties, or what were the oppositions, or how was it? Was it very easy, or was it always a difficult path wherever you went?
I think the challenge was one to handle the mindset that people had towards people with disabilities, and also there was no reference, as in there was no reference for me to follow that can be replicated.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
Yeah, so like the time that I spent in those 3 years was like sitting at airports overnight to count the number of people who were traveling with various disabilities, or talking to hotels or people with various disabilities, like, doing the research, because I wanted to be sure that whether it would survive as a business in the long term. Like, for any business, financial sustainability is the key, right? So the solution should be such that it in long term it is self sufficient. And then it was like, to convince the world about it, because sometimes even people with disabilities were not convinced that traveling is possible. When I did my first trip, which was a 6-hour tour, I had to talk to parents of 40-year-olds to send them to a monument in the neighborhood in the same city they have been living in for all their life, right? So it started from there. Then when I went to the hotels, they were like, they don't come, then why should we accommodate their needs, or why should we even bother? Because disabled people are not seen as paying customers, right? It is always linked with charity. So that mindset that they can be paying customers, to break that was another big challenge. So once, but though it is like, the hotels were saying that they don't come, but it was a catch 22. They were not, people were not coming because they were not accessible, or they were not welcoming to their needs, right? So gradually I think it changed. I think I see a lot of change in the past few years since we have been in operation. And when people see the business coming, they obviously realize, yeah, disabled people can be paying customers. So it's been a gradual journey. So, like, for example, the rafting trip that we launched, so it took me like 6 months and 30 different rafting operators who telling me that you are mad to even think about it, and then finally making it happen. So you know, it's been an amazing journey.
How did you I have seen your focus to adventure also, taking people with disability to outdoors and making them do adventure activities. This is something very unique, and I know it requires a lot of effort and passion to get something, make something like this possible. So what exactly, what from where did you get this motivation, and what was the thought process behind this?
So I would say the credit goes to a 70-year-old auntie who asked me that she wanted to do rafting. And by that time, I had myself never done rafting, so I had no idea. But I always go by the thing when it comes to Planetable, that why not? So I'm like, okay, sure, let me try. And that is it. So if, and the more the people say no, the more it convinces me that why not. So that, like, persisting on that why not, and finally making it happen, I think that has led us to, from to do rafting or skiing or hiking or things like that. So it's about breaking that why not, why it is not possible. So if you have to do something, people have just come and asked that I want to do this, so I'm like, okay, sure, why not? So the whole idea of Planetable is that you give everyone the freedom to travel just like everyone else. So I mean, that is what drives me to do any sort of these adventures.
Awesome. Neha, was it easy? Is it? Do you think it's easily possible for everybody, or maybe the people with disability, to go for adventures as it's available normally for other people, or do you find it's very difficult to get it organized? Is India has that kind of an infrastructure?
Honestly, no. But I think it is important. So when we do these adventures, we adapt it, like how to make it happen, keeping the safety and security of the people in mind. So, like, there is no compromise. So sometimes people might say these are expensive, but the safety comes at a cost, because we have to make special arrangements for the extra safety that we are bringing in for these adaptive experiences, right? So yes, we as a country, if not everyone can just go and have that, have that kind of experience, because once someone has done rafting with us and they tried doing it without us somewhere else, they were completely denied, right? Because so it's not just making it happen, it's all about making the people aware who are in that ecosystem that why it is important and why they should support it. So we still have a long way to go to, be a country where anyone can just go and opt for, like anyone with a disability can just go and opt for an adaptive experience. And some people, like say for bungee jumping, it's still not possible. I mean, the guy, I have been fighting him for years, but he just doesn't budge.
So when I used to work outside, Neha, I have worked with people with disabilities, and I have seen, I have even made people do kayaking with adaptive kayaks, and even people into sailing and other stuffs. And there are a lot of athletic sports also which happens around people with disability. But how do you think, Neha, how we can bring all those things in India, and how what is the things which actually we lack, and how we can bring it up?
I think the base thing, the basis of everything to bring about any changes in the mindset of the people, like, and the industry, until and unless they treat people with disabilities as an equitable customer and an equitable traveler, that they are open to the idea of doing it, not like, something like avoid them, or always link disability to charity. Like, I see some companies in the last couple of years after we started, like they have started charity tours for people with disability, and I see people who earn lakhs in a per month are still opting for that charitable trip. Why? I mean, we the whole idea is that to offer travel with dignity, and if a person with disability can afford to pay for the travel, why you have to link it to charity, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, so the whole idea is, one, to separate it from charity. Yes, of course, a lot of people can pay. For those who can't pay, we have a gift or to a program for them, that's separate. But and the industry should realize that they are just any customer, any other customer who has a different set of needs, not as someone ki they are different, they are a separate group and we have to do something big for them and let's not do it. So once that mindset changes, I think the whole industry will change, and then it won't be difficult, because getting an equipment and making it happen is not a big deal. You just have to invest money. But until and unless your mindset is open about making it happen, or you are sensitive enough to their needs and treat them as an equal human being, like, let's put it that way. Till that point, nothing would change.
Absolutely. Understood. Neha, can you just take us through few of your photos, because I have seen some inspiring photos which you have shown last time. People doing adventure, and because actually by seeing itself, it's a kind of a thrilling one. Can you
Sure.
just take us through a couple of photos at least, like we will get an idea like what you are trying to say.
Sure, I'll just run through some of them. Let me know once you can see that.
Yeah, we can see that, Neha. We can see the photo.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
already in this desert.
Yeah, it's in the deserts in Rajasthan. So yeah. So whether you talk of snow or the deserts or the national parks, we do everything. So I'll just run through next picture. Okay. Yeah. So that's in Dharamshala. That's in Amritsar, Varanasi. That's Khajuraho for you. That's Jaisalmer for
Places,
you.
are these places completely accessible, or you had some adaptive equipment which made you helped you to do this?
Yeah, yeah. So some places are, and some places we have to make it adaptive. It depends upon the place. So most of the places we have to make temporary arrangements to make it happen. So yeah, that's a blind couple.
Explain a bit about the photos also, then we get a
Okay,
context. Yeah.
so this is this is a lady who has traveled to over 50 countries, and India is now in her top 3 countries to travel. Like she loved it so much. And here it's a picture of Kerala. This is a guest who was a police officer injured in an accident, and yeah, so they are in a uh, what do you say, a traditional hatchback kind of a hotel in.
Right.
And here it's in an they're blind couple in a national park. They travel regularly with us every year. Go on a holiday. And this is in Udaipur, in one of these are my parents, by the way, in case. So I put their picture also here. And yeah, so this is a picture of rafting in Rishikesh. So let me just also mention that none of the experiences are subsidized. Like, that if everyone goes through all the rapids, our raft also goes through all the rapids. It's not that, okay, we won't go here for safety reasons or we won't go here. So none of the experience is compromised.
So you ensure the experience is not compromised in any of these activities. Wherever it's possible, you ensure they are being taken.
Yes. Yeah. So he's a blind guy who has jumped into the waters. And here we are in Gulmarg at the top. I think it's a level 1, like at the very top of it.
The bunny slopes.
No, these are not the bunny slopes. These are after the level 1.
Okay.
After you have taken the highest ropeway. This is after that, where you have the border. So if you see in the far end, there is a check post. That is actually the border. You cannot go beyond that.
Okay.
Yeah. And here we have like adaptive yoga also in Rishikesh. This is the auntie who asked for rafting, by the way.
Awesome. She should. She's for
sorry?
game, right?
Yeah, she's exam game for everything. And so yeah, there on the left is a picture in Gujarat of staying in a bhunga, like the traditional houses. On the right is a couple who has been on a cruise. So they are on a land tour with us. And here on the left is again Udaipur, traveling in a vintage car, and on the right celebrating Diwali with the local family. And here also it's one of the resorts in Rajasthan. And here there are 2 families. If you can see on the left they are at Taj Mahal, and on the right there is a family. They are on a boat on a houseboat. And here is like one of the sensory experiences of cooking and spices and all of that. So she's blind in case it's not evident. She's a blind woman. And here on the left is a kid with multiple disabilities. So this child has multiple disabilities. So she cannot hear, she cannot speak, she has cerebral palsy, so cannot walk properly. And here she is seen drumming. And on the right we have a double amputee who is.
But she's enjoying it at the best. I can see that in the picture itself. It's captured well. Her excitement.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And here is one of the inclusive group trips. So if you see, there are people with various disabilities. There are blind people. There are people on wheelchairs. So it's an inclusive group trip in Delhi. This is the picture of one of our first trips, actually. Yeah, this is the whole inclusive group that was there on our first trip. So it has people from various disabilities and the non-disabled who had fun together. And this is another inclusive group trip.
Thank you very much, Neha. This is what, like, this gives a direct glimpse into what actually you do, So thank you for taking us through. I think there have been a couple of questions which has come up for you. One interesting one was, what was the most memorable moment in your journey, like leading these trips or organizing this trip? What is it that it's you would say the best moment you had in this journey?
Wow, there have been so many. like every time you break one barrier, I think it creates another wonderful memory. But I think the most important one and the most memorable one would be when we did the first trip, because taking that first step, I think, was the most important one, because even I wasn't sure how it will go, and I had no reference. I just launched it, and it happened, and they came like 42 people with 22 disabled and 20 non-disabled, and they all went out together. And later on, like after the trip also, they became friends, like the non-disabled became friends for the disabled, and they're like, okay, wow, it doesn't make a difference whether you have a disability or not. And so I think that moment remains, because that was the starting moment. After that, there have been many, like people coming and telling me that you turned me into a travel addict, or I would always blame you for that. Now I have to spend a lot of money on travel because now I cannot remain without traveling. Or you gave me the best day of my life. Uh, so yeah, every time there is a new thing, a new experience.
Got it, got it. This question was actually asked by Ujjwal, Mr. Ujjwal. I think you got. Thank you, Ujjwal, for asking it. So you told you have been approaching the hotels, and there have been many instances where the accessibility becomes an issue in hotel. But I remember once you said that you have approached hotels and asked them to make it accessible for particular trip or something. So I hope you had those kind of experiences couple of times. So can you just explain it a little bit more about that? Maybe making a ramp, or helping it with some other stuff for holding or railing or something like that. So how was the response from the hoteliers or the resort owners or something?
So I think, yeah, so like a couple of resorts have made themselves accessible for us. I mean, and I'm really, really grateful to them and thankful to them for making it happen. I think the whole idea was, when I went to them and asked them and explained them the scenario, they were very sensitive that, yeah, why not? That they had the same mindset. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And that is completely logical, that why cannot we welcome guests with disabilities? And they made it happen. I mean, that was wonderful. And I think during this journey, I would look forward to see more and more people getting into that mode, that why not, why cannot we welcome guests with disabilities, and making the changes that are required.
What is the kind of preparation, Neha? Because there will be many people watching us having the same query, I believe. Because I myself, my mom uses, because she, after many years, she came to Delhi recently, like last year, and we took her to Jaipur and Jodhpur and couple of other destinations. And we were lucky that few places we got some accessible places. We got a wheelchair, other things, but we were not prepared for it, in fact, because that was very helpful for her. Because walking on those sunny days, on those forts, was not an easy solution, but having a wheelchair at those time, in fact, helped us a lot. Helped her to enjoy and explore those places in a better way without exerting herself. So I hope the same kind of thought must be there with most of the people having elderly people in their house or people with disabilities. What do you suggest, Neha? What is the kind of preparation people should make, and what are things are available, and how we can we make it easy for them to travel?
So if we have to be realistic, we still don't have a country where everything is accessible and you can just think about traveling to somewhere and go, and it would be accessible. Unfortunately, we are still not there. We are changing slowly, but we still haven't reached there. So till that time we reach that point, I think people with disabilities will have to do some homework before they travel. So like whether the place is access, depending upon the kind of disability they have. So accessibility is not just about ramps or wheelchairs. That is also a point, and that is also the perception that people have. Ki accessibility is just about a ramp. It is
Correct.
not about a ramp. Accessibility is also about what Survey is doing. This is making the information accessible for our deaf friends, right? So it varies from people to people, and it is not readily available. So we have to do our homework that according to what disability or accessibility needs the person has, and you need to have a prior information before you are going there, right? So you need to know what are the accessible routes. You need to know what are the facilities that are available, and how the information is available. So we have to do that homework. So like I'm here happy to help to anyone who wants to go, because every destination that we operate in, we do all the destination development before we open for anyone, so we know the ins and out, where to go, where not to go. So we are happy to help, but otherwise they would want to go, they will have to do this kind of homework. That is something that we still have to reach a place. We are trying our best that we
Right.
build a world where we should not exist as a specialized company, but yeah, it's still some time to that.
I understand, Neha. I understand where you're coming from. So, Neha, when we said this, what is the kind of support we are getting from the government? Like, is it full very good support, or or what are you expecting from the government? And when you reach out to the government, is it the right response which you get back or not?
So I would say, so like, see, we need to understand that in a country like India, making any change policy wise is a big task. It takes its own time. So from where I started few years ago and where we are today, I think the government has been very supportive to us whenever. So like they even organized a session, like asked us to do a session on accessible travel. We've been doing some sessions with the various state boards as well, to make them aware about the importance of it. So they've been now like supporting us a lot in that ways. So I think the change is coming, and I'm really happy that they are like like supporting us in that way. It will take some time, because you cannot just go and change the monument and tourist places in a day. Like it
Right.
trickles down from top to bottom, but I'm really happy that it has started.
Got it. Neha, I don't know whether I should ask this question or not, but India is pretty big, and there are many states and many destinations. Do you suggest few destinations where people can easily select कि चलो ठीक है इस जगह पे आप जा सकते हो वहाँ पे pretty much, for example, if you say, when you say about European countries or some other country where it is really accessible, so both internationally and domestic, what are the destinations you suggest are pretty good or pretty better in terms of accessibility?
Okay, tricky question, because even if I talk of any particular state, so some part might be accessible, some part might not be accessible. And it also depends what accessibility means to you. What is your disability when we are talking of accessibility, right? So whether what disability you have and what are your accessibility needs. So it
Right.
depends, it varies accordingly. So that one destination might be accessible for one disabled person, and it might not be accessible to other disabled persons.
Correct. Correct.
So yeah.
So I think it's very much related and depends on different kinds of disabilities.
Yes.
Understood. Uh, Neha, I think we should just go through the comments. We have not gone through there pretty long time. Let's see what people have to ask again with you.
Sure.
Yeah. Ujjwal, again have one more question. Is what are the additional information you provide for the people with disabilities before coming for an adventure trip?
Additional, I think you need to be a bit more specific, like what additional information. So, like, there are few guidelines that we, as a mandate, when someone is coming for adventure trip, we make sure that they have an adventure travel insurance, right? So, this is not very common in India to have a travel insurance when you are traveling in India, right? But we make it a norm that for safety reasons, we do it at our own cost. We don't charge them for this, but we make sure that they give us proper information. And depending upon what are their needs, we give them a briefing before they are traveling, and that this is what you need to keep in mind and this is what you need to expect. I mean, it is, and I think this applies to all the travel experience providers, irrespective of whether we are an accessible travel company or a regular travel company. I mean, it's like we need to give briefing to the travelers, like what they have to expect as an experience and things to keep in mind.
Continuation to that, when you said adventure insurance, do we actually have insurance for adventures for the people with disability, or is it the normal adventure insurance?
It's a normal adventure insurance. There's
And
nothing specific for people with disabilities. Yeah.
yeah, so it's and what are the is it easily available?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think there are only a couple of them who do that, and it is there.
One more interesting again question is, what is it that you look in a person before you hire somebody to work for this kind of a company? Because I know it's a pretty tricky question, maybe, I don't know, but I'm just curious to know, like, what is it required to join company, or to do something like this?
I think couple of words: compassion and empathy, and like willingness to like break any norm that is there in the minds of people. Like that you have to do it. That get to do attitude. I think that is what is required. That you gotta do it. Come what may, like by hook or by crook, ये करना है, वो वाला attitude चाहिए, and compassion and empathy, and yeah, sensitivity also that is needed. I think
And,
that's all we need. The rest all can be learned.
correct, correct. And is it when you do hiring, is it easy to find those people, or you what is the like? It's a tricky thing to find the right people.
I'll be very, very honest. So
Sure.
when people think of travel, they're like, wow, cool, travel company, yeah, it would be a cool job. And yeah, people with disabilities, oh, wow, I'll do some good also. So they come with very much excitement, but not realizing that on the ground to make it happen, it's a dirty groundwork.
Right.
So then they're disappointed. So I think that is like, when people think of all these good words, like travel is very exciting, like people with disabilities are like, oh wow, heartwarming. But to make it all happen, it takes shitload of dirty groundwork, which is not like, it's not a joke and it's not easy.
Right.
It's really hard work. So yeah, and most of the time, I think it's with most travel companies, people think free travel. No, dude, it's not free travel. If you're traveling, you are on the job all the time,
Correct.
because
I know. I know.
you're not on the holiday. I think it's common for all travel companies. People think कि हाँ travel company में तो free travel मिलेगा. So break that expectation. ठीक है मिलेगा, लेकिन you will be on the job. You
Correct.
won't be on a holiday.
I think the kind of responsibility here is a bit more, I feel,
Yes.
rather than the normal travel guiding,
Yeah.
leading a trip.
Yes.
I
I'm
understand
just
that.
saying that many people travel for the first time, or, are new travelers. So it
Correct.
becomes all the more important that the experience goes seamless and perfect, because they might not be able to take that step again. So yeah, so it's a responsible work too.
Understood. Got it. I think it's for all those people who is wishing to join tourism based companies, and especially with Neha. So
Um,
Neha, I know this right now. It's a very tough situation which is going on everywhere because of this new COVID situation, and especially the overall the tourism industry and the travel industry has had a bad hit. But what do you see when it comes to inclusive tourism or accessible tourism, and how is it going to impact? And do you think it's going to be back to normal? And what are the difficulties what are the challenges which you are expecting to come when things are going to get normal?
so let's be realistic. I mean, I see it as, uh, it will take a lot of time. So, anyways, we were having a lot of protocols in place. Now we'll have to have more. And especially some people with disabilities are more vulnerable in such situation. So it becomes all the more important. So like since I think Feb end we started saying no to people, even if there were any inquiry coming in that no, don't travel, wait for a few months and then only we'll go ahead, because it's not just about the business, it's about their safety as well. For me, their safety is more important than any sort of money. So that said, we will take some time to get to the kind of business that we were doing before COVID happened. We will, I would say, like couple of years, and it would change. The way travel has happened till now would change forever, I would
Right.
say.
Right.
And I think I like to just mention that everyone who is stuck in the house right now is in a way disabled. So I think it's all the more important that people, everyone, disabled or non-disabled, is going through the same set of restrictions that people with disabilities regularly go through, COVID or not. So they are stuck in houses because the environment is limiting or the information is limiting them, right? So now
Right.
everyone is going through that, and everyone is having that same emotions and feelings by being stuck in the house. So I think it's more on the realization side that yeah, if they want to go out, they should think about people with disabilities who also want to go out, right? So and we are starting from zero. Once it's ground zero for everyone, especially the
Correct.
travel industry, which has been the worst hit. So it's all the more important, if we are starting from ground zero, if we are putting new guidelines and policies in place, then make inclusion and accessibility as an integral part of it. We cannot just go back again and then start talking about accessibility and
I think
inclusion.
that's a very valid point. Yeah, I think that's something super important that when you start again, we should consider all these things which we were lacking behind, and I think it's let's if we talk it as a positive thing, it's an opportunity for us to rebuild things in the better way,
Yeah.
which
And so
we were
why
lacking.
leave out what we were lacking, right? Where you're starting. So like, okay, include everything.
Right, right, right. I think that's amazing. Neha, before going to the next question, let's go again once more. Let me check any more questions from the viewers. It's okay. I can see these. Hi Gaurav. Gaurav Joshi has asked a question. What are the things can a normal traveler do to help his or her fellow traveler with disability?
Okay. So, I think to help a fellow traveler with disability, you just have to treat them as any other human being instead of being over sympathetic or
Correct.
insensitive for that matter. कि
Right.
ये हमसे कुछ अलग है. Like you just treat them as as any other person for that matter, equally, who just happens to have a disability, and be just empathetic to their needs, and of course just be a bit mindful that uh, what you're saying and how you're saying it. Just treat them equally. I think that is the ground zero to the first and the only rule. Treat them as any other human being.
Absolutely, absolutely, Neha. Neha, hi, Nitin. Nitin has a very different question. So his question is, how do you reach out to your customer base, and how many people with difficulties have already traveled with you, approximately, and how do you reach out to them?
So I think it's all word of mouth. I haven't reached out to anyone. Uh,
I think he wants to know your marketing strategies, probably.
so yeah, if you, I would say if you do good work and if you like create memorable experiences for people, the word in itself spreads out. So all the work that we have received till now has been completely word of mouth, definitely. So these awards did help us, of course, in the information spread, but everyone verifies, right? It's not just the information spread. Everyone
Right.
verifies and checks how the previous experiences of people has been. So, and if it's good, it's yeah. So we have like great TripAdvisor reviews and Facebook reviews, and that only spreads the word.
Got it. Dawood has a question: how which all places you have traveled with your parents?
Oh, okay. To be honest, I've like reduced traveling with them since I started the company. Like I try to, but time is a thing, and which is something I'm really guilty of. But I'm like I've traveled to them with them to Rajasthan. I've even traveled to Kerala, Tamil Nadu, like even till Kanyakumari, uh, Calcutta.
Neha, you know, no, Kanyakumari is my hometown.
Really?
Yeah?
Oh, I thought you're from Kerala.
No, actually, my papa is from Tamil Nadu. It's a mixed blood, but still, Kanyakumari is where my home is. So,
Oh, okay. Nice. That's a beautiful place. I mean,
yeah,
especially the Vivekananda ashram that is there. That's very nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Neha, one question I would like to ask you, which has been coming up, is what is the I think that question has been asked by, I feel it's with Gaurav has already asked, but still it's a little more see, I want to go into depth of it, like what is the message you want to give to the normal people about traveling, and what are the difficulties you have faced when you go with the people with disabilities, and have you ever faced a kind of difficulty or an issue? Because I have seen when I've been in a couple of places, I have seen issues which I have faced with when we have people from outside our country, people ogling or looking at them, or coming up for selfie or something like that. It becomes, sometimes it's easy, it's fun, but sometimes it gets a little fussy for the people also, because they make it a little more a little discomfort. So have you ever come across that kind of a situation, and what is it that you want to give as a message to the people when we travel as a group, or when you see something like this?
Okay. First, everyone is normal. Okay. So even so like you used more normal people. So even people with disabilities are normal. It's just that they happen to have a disability. So like we can use like the non-disabled folks or non-disabled people. And in terms of people's reactions, there has been amazing reactions. So when we have gone in groups, people are like, "Oh my God, is she blind?" You know, and right on the face.
Correct.
And these are like some of the like at places where there were affluent people, and these are educated people who are giving such kind of reactions, seeing a person with disability traveling and enjoying like everyone else. So, or again saying that if you face so much trouble, why are you coming out? So, just stay home and things like that. So, and giving looks, oh my God, as if some aliens have come in group. The- uh, like, as if they have never seen people with disability. And it's like the kind of looks they give to foreigners here, it's worse. So if it's a foreigner with a disability, you are, completely like this. Okay, who are these people? What planet they come from? So
It's
um,
not funny. Yeah.
it is not funny, but say here is a thing. This happens, if you get to the root of it, this happens because many people have never ever interacted with a person with disability, and they
Correct.
have not seen people with disabilities in public spaces or out in the open, right? So when they have not seen, they are not familiar. So if you
Right.
go to other countries, you see people doing their day job on a wheelchair, or a blind person walking on the road all by themselves, going to office, things like that. We don't see that here, and it's not a regular sight here. So when they see, they are like, okay, what is it? So because pe- people with disabilities, for like, for majority of people, kind of don't exist. Sometimes even families are not even accepting the fact that they have a person with disabilities. Now they hide disability, right? Some of the affluent families hide disabled members of the family. So until and unless that acceptance comes in, this won't change. So
Correct.
the solution to this is, the more and more people with disabilities are seen out in the open. So we started this social get-togethers. We were not making any money on it. It was just split the bill kind of thing. We were going to Starbucks or pubs, or taking even a rapid metro train, the whole coach for an hour, and doing a jamming session and
Right.
stand-up comedy in a running train.
Those are
So
interesting things, Neha. Very interesting. Like I think the people should know about this. Yeah. What else?
so these are the things, like, holding a, say, a poetry session in between Delhi Hard. So this is because notion that this is not familiar. We wanted to familiarize people that this is a normal sight. And then we realized other people picked it up, other organizations, and we also got busy with business. So like, I was like, the purpose was actually met. That they were doing these get-togethers, which were like making it a normal side. So we stopped doing it, got busy in the business, but now I see it has again stopped. No one is doing it. So I think it's time we'll start doing it again,
Right.
and make it a part of everyday life. So, like, the question that you asked was that what people with disabilities can do to while they are interacting. I think just treat them as regular humans. I mean, who happen to have a disability. If you come across with them, say a hello instead of just moving your eye towards the other side.
Right. Right. I think, hi Lalita. Lalita has an interesting question. Do you travel personally to the places before taking your clients, especially in adventure? She's just curious and want to know whether do you do that.
Yeah, I cannot send anyone anywhere until and unless I have been to that destination. So we actually develop destination before anyone travels to that place. So every place would have been audited, every hotel would have been audited, and the whole preparations would have been made before any traveler goes anywhere.
Yeah. So Neha, what is the next big adventure trip which you are wishing for the people to go? And I have one more interesting question. I think I will not elongate it more. I've been asking question, but there are a lot to ask actually. So that's the reason. So what is your wish list? Like what is it, the big next big? You have done raft, made people raft, taken people for rafting. You have done taken for, I think, zip line. I have seen people been in the Varanasi, and they were in the skiing also in Gulmarg. So what is next?
So with COVID, everything next has been stalled, I think, for a while. Uh, but I think I would like to make these experiences also, more. what do you say, more regular. I want more and more people to experience this, because to develop these experiences costs us a lot of money. To be honest, I'll be like as a business, if I have to talk about it, like making skiing happen or making rafting happen, to just design the program and building it up costs us a lot of money. So uh, any other adventure, I mean, I think people would come and ask me that we want to do this. So we want to extend our horizons and geographic locations with that, and let people come and ask, let make me do this. And I think that would be the start of it, that we make it happen. I want to do more of some trips hiking in the nature, you know, like
Right.
not just limiting to India but internationally. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Neha, last question. I have been, it's there in my mind. I wanted to ask. Neha, what was the reason for this inclusiveness? Because I have not seen many people coming up with this inclusive travel idea. I have seen people going with different kinds of disabilities. Maybe some organization focusing on blind or deaf or some other disability. But what was your thought process of bringing in inclusiveness with people with without disability, different kinds of disabilities? What was the idea behind, and do you think it can change anything in a better way?
Yeah, so I think even if there's like some so while I was doing my research and preparing the model for the business, I saw some accessible travel companies abroad who were focusing on one single disability, right? And it's easy to do. Like, I'm not saying it's that easy to do, but it's still uh, in comparison to what we do. But for me, coming from a background of two different disabilities, right? So I've lived all
Right,
my life like that in an inclusive way, if you think of it, right?
right,
So all my life I have lived in an inclusive way. So we are two non-disabled daughters, and our parents have two different disabilities. So when I started, I was like, I cannot choose between my parents. That was one point, that I cannot, do only for wheelchair users or only for the blind. Then how come my parents will travel together?
right,
That won't be possible if they want to go, right? And I feel doing these disability specific trips is another way of segmentation, of discrimination. That if I have a certain disability, I would travel separately. Or
right.
if I have this disability, I would travel separately.
Correct.
Why? Why do we have to create that differentiation in people? Right?
Right.
Why can't we have disability just become a human feature, like I have white hair and you have black hair, and we all travel together, right? So that's the whole idea. That's And even with any specific disability, there is lack of awareness in one set of group towards the other set of group. There is awareness, but sometimes, the blind are not aware about the challenges of the deaf. The deaf
Right.
are not aware about the challenges of the wheelchair users, and the wheelchair users are not aware about the challenges of, say, people with autism. But if you bring them together, they realize, okay, everyone has their own set of challenges. And they if we all go together, everyone has a unique inclusive experience,
Correct.
right? So why can't we all travel together? So and that has been the, that I would say is the vision and the mission of Planet Table that I go by. That I want to make travel inclusive, like everyone travels together, irrespective of whether whatever disability they have, or whatever the age or impairment, everyone travels together.
Amazing thought, Neha. Amazing thought. I'm very sure this chat would have opened up many people's mind and clarified a lot of things because even for me, it's a lot of things which you have told, have discussed has been is very new, and I feel these kind of sessions has to come up pretty often where we can discuss about these things which is not easily available for the normal people or even with the people with disabilities. So thank you very much, Neha, for coming up and giving all of us this amazing session. And special thanks to Surbhi also for joining us and helping us. And thank you very much, Neha. Thank you, and wish you all the very best for your venture.
Thank you so much, Renzi. Thanks for the invitation, and I really had an amazing time answering your all the questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you, Surbhi.